Good day, and I love you. Welcome to the Daily Dose, your daily dose of well-being for Tuesday, August 21st, 2018. I'm Heather Peterson Lockhart. I'm the Chieftess. I'm a well-being coach. Today is a 22 Master Day, and as the moon is building to a full moon this weekend, and Chiron is pushing our buttons and tripping our triggers and, well, stepping on our toes and making us boo-hoo. Today is a day to take lots of breaks and remember to ground. Remember to let your physical body, barefoot, bare feet, sit your butt on the bare earth, and allow your beautiful bioelectric body to soak up the Earth's electrons that counteracts our overly positive ionic charge. When you're all zinged out and you're feeling like this, that's what's going on. So just make sure you touch the Earth, and that will totally help today. And remember, today, as Chiron is presenting old patterns and old beliefs, maybe even old relationships, you may even have some people from your past popping back up. It's not to punish you. It's not because you've screwed up or you haven't done something well. It does not have to take you out of your game. In fact, quite the contrary. The moon is spotlight bright, shining the light on the relationship, the situation, the thought process, the behavior that's no longer working for you. And you don't have to worry, because you're not the same person you were when you were dealing with that person in that relationship, thinking that thing, right? It's time for a shift. That's why it's being brought to the surface. That's why you get some pain with it, which makes you pay attention. So, we can be thankful for that too, right? I mean, think about that. If it didn't hurt, would you be paying attention to it, right? So the things that hurt today are being presented so that they can be illuminated by the moon. Chiron's showing us where we can break the old pattern, and we can trust that we have more tools today, more information. We're not the same person. That's why we're being gifted this illuminated presentation. Truly, it wouldn't flag you if you were the same person engaging in the same behavior. Does that make sense? You wouldn't have any upheaval. It would just be your norm. Think about that for a second. In that, you can be grateful for the upheaval, knowing that you're different, knowing that you have more capability, more connection, more tools. So say thank you and show up today and touch the earth, and you'll be good. Now, for our exercise, do you have your bag of pennies? Okay, I would love for you to get a journal. I'd love for you to get a journal, and I'd love for you, before we go any further, to write your observations about yesterday's exercise. What did you notice? And if you would, leave it in the comments for me. I would love to know what you noticed about yesterday's exercise. Well, for each of us, it'll be different. You may have noticed that there's a ton of airplanes in your neighborhood, and it was really easy for you to clue in to the sound of the neighborhood. You have 307 pennies. Some of you may have noticed quite the contrary. You may wonder if airplanes even fly over your head, or you totally forgot that we were even doing the airplane thing, So for each of us, it's a lesson in our ability to cue into different things and to do it rather quickly. How quickly can we become mindful of what we're hearing around us? How much are we truly hearing what's going on around us, and how much are we on autopilot, right? So today, write down your number of coins. If you want to leave that in the comments, do. Leave your number of coins, leave what you thought about the exercise, and write it in your journal. Now today we're going to do the same exercise, just a little more in depth. We're going to keep it super simple. So take your pennies today, go about your day. It's going to be the same thing. When you hear an airplane, put a penny in that, that little pile. When you hear a siren, put a penny in the pile. When you become aware that you are thinking something or engaged in a thought process, put a penny in that pile. Now today, here's the differentiation. Here's the change. I want you to linger. Once you hear the siren, once you hear the airplane, once you become aware that you're thinking, I want you to pause for a second, and I want you to survey the scene. I want you to become aware of your surroundings in the most total sense that you can. I want you to cue in and clue in to all of your senses. If you're in the car and you're hearing a siren, maybe what are you tasting? Are you tasting today's lunch? Have you had lunch yet? Are you hungry? What music is on the radio? What color is the car next to you? Is a man or woman driving? I want you to take note and get as present as you can and clue into what's going on around you while you're hearing that siren, okay? Or while you're hearing that airplane. Or once you catch yourself thinking, what are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? How many times have you been thinking that today? Okay? And then at the end of the day, I want you to take that journal out, and the first thing I want you to do, what we're going to go through, is I want you to think about, oh, I'm sorry, I skipped, it's like forgetting the punchline on a joke. If you can remember to pay attention once you hear the siren, once you hear the airplane, I want you to give yourself a couple more pennies. Like, if you kind of did it, if you're like, yeah, I think I was like, you know, I totally, you can do this 2 parts here. You can do it in the process. If you remember right then, like you hear the siren and you're like, that's right, I'm hearing a siren. I'm going to pay attention to what's going on around me. Okay, I'm looking around. Oh, I totally did it. I'm giving myself 5 extra pennies. Then cool, okay? But maybe you don't do it as much, but then later at the end of the day, when you're taking note and we're comparing, is what I was about to say, you're going to take the amount of coins you have and you're going to compare them to the number you had yesterday. You might become aware then that you can reflect back to some of those sirens, some of those airplanes, and some of that thought process. And then you can become aware that you really were able to pay attention to all those things. And then if that's the case, I want you to take a few more pennies for each time that you can remember being truly present and observing what was going on around you through all of your senses, okay? So depending on your awareness and how you work, you can award yourself in the process, or you can reflect upon at the end of the day and award yourself afterwards, all right? If you feel like you were more mindful this time. If you, at the end of the day, you're like, well, I have 12 pennies, that's cool. I have 2 more than I did yesterday, but I didn't remember to pay attention to a dang thing. I just like heard the siren and I got sidetracked. Then you don't get any more pennies. But if you're like, no, I really did. Like, I can remember now. Now that when I heard that siren, I was on this street. I looked over at the lady next to me. We smiled. We had a connection. This is the song on the radio. Then that's a lot of pennies. You know what I'm saying? So take note of your pennies. Compare the number once you total them, and put that down. And leave that in the comments. Tomorrow we're going to talk about how this exercise applies to real life energetic beings, real life energetic currency, and how you can learn to take charge of your life in the only way that there is energetically, right? So here's our card for the day. There's nothing sexier than my authentic self. What? Thanks for joining me today. If you want to work with me, go to www.thechiefess.com. Send me an email. I'll see you tomorrow. I love you.